All right. Good morning, you guys. This is Kate Stoneman. I am going to be walking us through the slides today. The team has a lot of really great content to share. So thank you all for being here. We will go ahead and get started with this quarterly business update. On the agenda for today's meeting, we're going to review our financial performance. We're going to take a look at FSQA. We're going to go and see what's been going on at Human Resources lately. And then Joe and Jonathan are going to take us through the big four at the end. So first up, we'll talk about our financial performance. Matt, I'll turn it over to you.
Sure. Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining and tagging along for this adventure. John, you want to go ahead and jump to the first slide here? Thanks. So just wanted to share a quick snapshot of how EBITDA came in, the main way we measure our financial performance for Q2 of this year. And so this is a look at the previous 6 quarters. It is nice to see a trend of 4 consecutive quarters of increasing EBITDA number. Now, if you remember back in our record years that we had in 2022 and 23, we're not quite back to those levels yet. Largely a function of we still have some open capacity that the sales team is working to fill. But this trend here, on the increasing trend from Q3, Q4 of last year has been really nice to see. John, if you want to go to the next one, diving into more of a just this year snapshot. This chart shows EBITDA by month. And largely you'll see our AOP or our budgeted plan is the black line. And then the green shows what our actual EBITDA results have been for each of those periods. And so the sum of all that for the first 6 months of this year has shown that we're about 1 million ahead of our AOP. But I believe I shared at the last monthly huddle that we knew we were going to face some tougher waters in July just due to the belly primal and what the belly primal increase does to the spread on our buy side and the sales side of our contracts. And so, John, if you want to go to the next slide, adding in July results, we did take a step back. And so this is largely a function of that belly primal spread. Volumes were consistent. Costs that we could control outside of just the commodity market were very consistent as well. And so my hope would be as we ride the wave of the belly primal down here this fall, we'll make this back up and hopefully then some as well with some of the cost savings measures that we're implementing. So as a result, through July, I would call us about on par with AOP versus ahead. But hopefully in the fall, with the falling primal, we'll be able to make that up and get back slightly ahead. So John, if you want to snap forward here. Also, I just wanted to share, this is one way we evaluate our controllable costs. And a lot of folks have seen these charts before in our cost per pound, and our budgeted cost per pound is the yellow line and our actual results is the blue, compared to pounds produced in the background. And so largely we've hit some headwinds we've had pretty strong health insurance expenses this year, and we've had some maintenance expenses, particularly in Salt Lake with SQF audit results and addressing those items, et cetera. So largely our cost per pound or our controllable costs, so to speak, have been slightly heavier than we planned for. And so I know each facility is taking a stab at managing that spend as best as we can and really focusing on what we can control to stay as close or within our budgeted amounts as close as we can. So I just want to thank everyone for those efforts there. And with that, Kate, I will let you take back over.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, Matt. After this, we're going to look at food safety and quality. Aaron, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Good morning, everyone. You want to go to the next slide. So one of the things that I wanted to update the group on, there have been some pretty significant changes to our Salt Lake City team this quarter. So I was just going to run through that with everyone. Kadar has started. I know he did helped with a monthly huddle last month, but he is the FSQA manager here. He's doing a great job. We're lucky to have him. Has quite a bit of experience. He's been in FSQA for 19 years. And he's doing some great things out here. And then Rendell, she was an internal promotion. She was formerly a coordinator, but she is now our first shift QA supervisor. She's been with Daily 7 years, so we're excited for Rendell. And then our most recent hire is Will. He is going to be second shift QA supervisor, and he's worked with Kadar from a former employer. So I just wanted to make sure everyone was aware. There's been, like I said, some pretty big changes to the team out here. So we're excited to have all of them on board, and just make sure if you see them, congratulate them and welcome them to their new role. Yep. Okay. So the next thing, Joe kind of asked me to kind of summarize my first, as it turns out, 80 days here with the company. And so it kind of did, where are we at? Where are we going? And a lot of my time has been focused on Salt Lake City. That's with working with Kadar and Sean mainly on HACCP plan verification and validation. Some of that came from the Boar's Head recall that I'm sure you're all familiar with, but some of it was just, reviewing our plan, buttoning it up. We are making some changes to it, and then making sure we have what's in place. And a lot of that is stemming from, we know the USDA has stated that everyone who has RTE will be receiving an FSA. And so it's just preparing us for that and being ready for when that happens. Going along with that, Matt kind of referenced it. Oh, go back. Salt Lake City is in surveillance audit for their SQF audit.
The previous slide there, John.
Yeah, previous slide still. And so we've been doing quite a bit of work out here, preparing the facility, working on programs and working with the personnel out here just to make sure that they're prepped for that surveillance audit. That's, it's kind of going to be our get out of jail free card with our customers. There are some customers that have looked at our initial score and they're waiting on our surveillance audit. So it's very important that we do a great job with that. And then where are we going? There's quite a bit that we're working on, but one of the things is standardizing pump checks. Each plant is doing it a little bit differently. So looking into that and seeing what is the best practice. I'm working with Sean on centralizing our technical documentation, getting that where it's in a central location where everyone can search it and have access to it. We're working on better FSQA reporting and dashboards, not only for our team and USDA, but also for operations and helping them out with what we're seeing. And then obviously shifting in 2026, I'll hopefully be shifting my focus a little bit from Salt Lake City and more toward St. Joe with the upcoming expansion. Go ahead, John. And then I guess the biggest really project that our team is working on is Safety Chain. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with that or not, but it's really going to transform our department in pretty big ways. And ultimately, Safety Chain is a program that's allowing us to go paperless for FSQA auditing. We'll have all of our information in real time, digital data. It'll be a lot better for reporting, for trending. It should be a lot quicker for pre-shipment reviews. There's a lot of opportunity around that. And obviously that's a big project, right? But the rollout schedule is pretty aggressive. We have a team that's working on it pretty much full time. Jennifer and Paige, if you haven't met them, they're fully on. We're having several meetings a week with them and what they've built. But kind of the plan is we're going to roll out quality audits first, and then move. You can kind of see the order in which we've decided to roll them out, quality wise, and then food safety would come next. Part of that, you might think that the food safety audits are more important. I wouldn't disagree with you, but it's also important that we understand what we're doing, know how to use the tablets, know how to use the programs. So doing the quality audits will allow us to learn. If we miss one, it's not that big of a deal, and then we'll be ready to go with the food safety audits and get those going. And the goal is to have the FSQA portion of the build complete by the end of this year. There are a lot of other opportunities where we can use safety chain, but that's where we're starting. So
yeah, and I just want to jump in. This is Joe. This is, I think, going to be a incredible benefit to our QA team, but even our plants, where information is going to be more readily available, easier to access. And so, but any implementation is going to take time and effort, and it's going to mean change. And so one of our core values is champion change. And that's what we're going to need a lot of folks on this call to be champions of this change, because I'm certain the long term, this is the best decision and the right decision, but it's not going to always be easy to get there. So I thank you all in advance for being champions of this.
and I think that's pretty much all I had, John. So
Okay, thanks, Aaron. We're gonna
Yep.
we're
Thanks,
gonna hear
Kate.
from human resources.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining today. I'd like to just walk us through a few different slides here. So John, if you'll go to the next one, please. Awesome. So this is kind of a snapshot, and shout out to Lori Lockwood for the help on creation of the design here. But this is our current turnover as of this week. So, all of this to say, we did have a few shocks this year with our employee turnover that were very unexpected, that we have had to navigate. And so while we do see some red and yellow on the screen here, I also recognize there were a lot of things that were kind of out of our control. And our HR teams did a phenomenal job of navigating through that. But I also want to encourage you too. You'll see that we've got the goal listed with the 2025 goal, and then that colored box will show where we're sitting. But I also want to encourage you that we can still make an impact to our employee experience and try to kind of come out stronger as we land 2025. As leaders in this organization, I assume you know this, but we all play a role, regardless if you have direct reports or not. We can all make an impact on our employee experience and on our culture. So I would also just encourage you to be thinking about how you and your team, how you can make a positive impact to our culture and to our employee environment. And let's try to see us navigate these numbers down a bit and start to move closer to our goals as we flow through the rest of this year. And John, if you'll go to the next slide, please. And this also leads us to our employee engagement survey. So hopefully you've received that communication that lets you know that our engagement survey is live and open and ready for you to provide us some feedback. It is open through August 29th. So the remainder of this week and next week, we will have another reminder email or two go out over the next several days. But if you hover over, you should actually be able to click directly on this link. But if not, again, it will be in the email communication. I want to also just encourage you that we want you to provide candid feedback. This is our only way, right, that we can make sure our employees, or one of the only ways that we can have their voices be heard and their thoughts and what's working well and what's not. And these are a few reasons why we do an engagement survey in the first place. First is to identify strengths and opportunities. So understanding, again, what's working well here at Dailies and where improvements need to happen. And listening to you all share your thoughts and suggestions is helpful in that. Next is improving employee experience. Again, by creating an opportunity for your voice to be heard, we can take that to boost morale, obviously improve our retention here at Dailies, and productivity as well by listening to our employee voices and taking action on said feedback. It also helps to build trust and transparency. We want to continue to demonstrate that Dailies, we do have that commitment to listening to our employees and taking action. We tried to really do that effectively over the last year or two, at least since I've been here, and we'll continue to do that. And then it also helps to drive performance. It engages our employees in our business, and it helps them to be more productive. It helps to feel that they're contributing to better business outcomes. And I also want to share that all of this survey feedback will be taken and discussed during our upcoming strategic planning. So Joe and his leadership team will all be together to kind of discuss some of the survey feedback results and what we can take action on, and try to continue to make this a great place to work. So again, as a reminder, the survey is open through this week as well as through next week. So please encourage yourself as well as your teams and anyone around you to take some time and complete that survey. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me directly for that. And next slide, please, John. And then we are at a bit of a crossroads, if you will, where we have a few changes here on the team and who is supporting a few of our HR initiatives right now. So I do want to announce that Madeline Stewart will be departing Dailies at the end of this week. And while we are very sad to see her go, we do wish her well in her next adventure. She did own a few of our pretty major components here, and played a big role in these. And so going forward, your points of contact here related to benefits would be Elizabeth Adkins. She is very well versed in benefits and will be an awesome resource for you if you have questions, thoughts, etc., as it relates to that. And then overall recruiting strategy, you can reach out to me directly. I would say how we've had it structured over the last year plus is that supervisor roles and anything that's kind of reporting through those supervisors, production, et cetera, at our plant locations, that is recruited and actively owned by our plant recruiters and HR teams. But then any manager roles and kind of overarching recruiting and talent strategy has sat here with the corporate team. So we are kind of navigating through what our next steps will be on ownership there. But this is a space I've spent lots of time in over the course of my career. So I will be the point of contact for recruiting. So if you have questions, thoughts, if I can help in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out and we will provide you the support that you need. If you'll go to the next slide. We wanted to also introduce someone new to our corporate team, Nathan Jarvis. We sometimes like to call him Nate Dogg. We don't know if he likes that or not, but he has been hired on as our FP&A analyst. And Nathan's been fantastic. He graduated from K-State in May with a bachelor's degree in finance and a master's degree in data analytics. So after graduation, Nathan moved back to Shawnee, back here to the Kansas City area with his girlfriend and dog, Muffin. We've got a little indicator there for you. But again, we are very thankful to have Nathan on the team. He's really focused in on how we can create more efficiencies, efficient processes, have those in place, and just help us to look at our financials as a whole. Where can we make smarter decisions and function more efficiently as a business? So welcome to Nathan. We're happy to have you and looking forward to all the great things that you'll bring here to Dailies. And I think that wraps up my HR section for today.
It does. Thank you, Jacqueline. I get to do the fun part, which is recognitions. We have a few recognitions this quarter for folks who have really gone above and beyond demonstrating our PACT values. So for Missoula, we'd like to recognize Kyle Williams for always doing the right thing. The plant says he has a good attitude. He's always helping out those around him, and he's a fast learner, goes above and beyond. Also, DJ Gutnick is being recognized for always doing the right thing, and together we win. Same, he always has a good attitude. He motivates others and makes sure everyone is safe. He also provides constructive criticism in a friendly way. Lastly, Missoula wants to recognize Greg Hinault for always doing the right thing, and together we win. He has been extremely helpful with IT needs within the facility. He's eager to solve issues and teach people how to solve them themselves. He has great communication, and he says, you could be the most skilled in your field, but being bad at communication means no one knows what you do or not want to work with you if you're too blunt. So good advice, Greg. We'll flip over to Salt Lake City, where we'd like to recognize Isabel Argueta and Nelly Castilla for People First. The HR team has really stepped up to the plate when there were a lot of significant unknowns with work authorizations. They made positive impacts for all the employees and how they interact on a daily basis. We'd also like to recognize Naveed Zazay for Together We Win. Naveed has really stepped out of his comfort zone to cover another plant, Missoula, during a time of need. So we really appreciate his flexibility and willingness to learn. And then over on the St. Joe front, we'd like to recognize Jerry Bean and Betty Barbara Columbi for always doing the right thing, Joseph Rosa and Rosalba Cruz for putting people first, Clinton Eldridge and Yason Cardosa Rodriguez for championing change. Thank you all. And then we have one more actually at the corporate level, Brantley Bennett, who most of you have met or know by now, for always doing the right thing and Together We Win. So most of you know that Brantley helped guide the HR team through an incredibly difficult time navigating immigration recently. A little background, in June, the current administration made changes with certain work authorizations, which affected many of our wonderful employees. This is very uncharted territory, but she continued to stay connected to the, she continued to stay connected, worked across the enterprise to align our strategy, and was a part of many difficult conversations. She joined Dailies in late January and stepped right in to lead our compliance and employee relations practices. Thank you, Brantley, for handling everything so smoothly and for being such a great partner to our plant facilities. We're lucky to have you. All right, thanks, guys. So now I will turn it over to Joe to walk us through the Big Four.
Awesome. And before I jump in, I just want to say thank you to the whole team. The summer is a hard time to manage. People's schedules get a little crazy. Folks that work with and for you's schedules are all over the place. You know, kids can be, if your guys' families are anything like mine, kids can be a little crazy during the summer as well. And so I just want to thank you all for your diligence this summer and working hard and continuing to exhibit our core values. It's really exciting to hear our core values continue to be exhibited through the facilities. So thanks for sharing those, Kate. What I wanted to do is share we had our quarterly board meeting 2 weeks ago now, and with the board, I shared, it said, hey, we are doing a million things at Dailies, but what at your level, I want you guys to know we're doing 4 things really well and really thoughtfully, and kind of to boil those down. And so I thought it'd be helpful to share with you all what those 4 things are. So the next slide shows those. So we are executing the expansion. We're partnering with sales to grow our business. We're protecting the things we do today really well, and then we're beginning to make sure that we're thinking about the transition of when the expansion comes due. And so the first one, execute, I'm going to have Jonathan share a little bit of an update on the expansion.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. You guys can see we've got our original timeline in front of us here. You know, really, we've been working on this expansion since about the time I got here. It's changed, but we got permission, if you remember, or I guess authorization to move forward a year ago this month, last August. And we've been doing a lot of design work, a lot of stuff in the background, started dirt work in April. There's just a lot of permits you have to go over, a lot of things to do. But you can see we've broken ground. We continue to work on all of the things that are really kind of boring and not fun to share, all the underground work. But I do want to recognize Aaron. He has done a fantastic job of working really hard to keep the team and the contractors and our general contractor on task and on time. Are we right where we need to be according to this timeline? No, not right where we need to be, but are we close? We are. And so really excited as things continue to pick up around here. You're going to see a lot of differences here over the next 3 or 4 weeks with the precast dry storage area going up here in about 2 weeks, or actually next week. And then the steel erectors will show up on site to complete the new amenities and start on the main plant expansion the week after Labor Day. So things are really starting to heat up now that we've about got this dirt work completed. But if things gone exactly like we wanted, no, if you'll go to the next slide, we can talk a little bit about that. Oh, sorry, I forgot about the parking lot. One of the things that we started about a year ago, and we have got 2/3 of the way completed. We'll complete the final portion of it once we get all of the major work for the amenities done, which is the break rooms and the bathrooms. We'll finish the rest of it. But for those of you who aren't familiar with St. Joe and what happens at shift change here, before we got this new parking lot put in place, we had folks come in 30 minutes to 45 minutes before their start times trying to find parking, people parking along all the islands, just a real, I'll say, safety concern and a real stressful situation for our second shift employees. But now that we have this additional lot and additional spots open, we're able to handle the overflow. There's a lot less stress. People don't have to show up quite so early. So we're excited to get this part open. We're excited to get it finished. And we'll also be parking some of our contractors in this slot as we get more and more of those folks on site. But as far as opportunities, man, it was a really wet July and a really wet June. You can see some of the things we fought through there. It's really hard to do dirt work when everything's standing in water. That picture on the left, those footings are probably 4.5 foot deep. So that's got 4.5 feet of water in it. And this was multiple times a week occurrence that we had to deal with. But the teams pushed through. The front there on the left is basically done. We've got one more section to pour yet this week. The aggregate piers, if everything goes well, they should be done today. And I think one of the interesting things to note is we've probably hauled in north of 500 truckloads of dirt in the back for the expansion there, and are in the process of bringing in the base as we speak. So lots of truckload of rock. So it's real busy in the back at the moment. Next slide. And I'll turn it back over to Joe.
Awesome. Thanks, Jonathan. So those of you who know me a little bit know that I love playing pickleball, and I have a partner, Chris Clausen is his name, that we play a lot of pickleball together. And a thing that Chris does that I love when we're playing together is if he hits a few bad shots in a row, he'll look over and say, "Pick me up, Joe. Pick me up, Joe." So now I say that to Chris sometimes, of "Pick me up, Chris." He hits a lot more bad shots than I do, though. But anyways, what's going to be a big theme of this next year is our partnership with the sales team. And we're going to have to be really joined at the hip with them to say, as they bring on more volume, we're ready for it. We're executing, doing everything we can. And so we're going to have to do a little bit where if they're lagging behind, they can look to us and say, "Pick me up dailies." Or the other times, hey, when orders come in heavy and we're struggling, we need to say, "Hey, sales, pick me up, sales." And so some of the things we're doing to grow our business is we brought in every one of our food service leaders across the organization and had them present in detail kind of the plans of where they are and where they're going, and asked a lot of questions and challenged and brainstormed new ideas. So that was a really productive session. We also brought in, some of you may not know this, but it's hard to call on, there's 1 million restaurants in the country, and it's hard to call on those individually as a salesperson. And so we have some what we call field sales who are calling on specific restaurants, but a lot of what they're doing is managing a team of close to 100 brokers who are going and knocking on the doors of individual restaurants. And they're not just selling Daly's bacon. They might also be selling pasta from a company and soap and some other things, but it gives them enough where they can get a foot in the door and sell our product. And so we brought in the C-suite of our broker and had a top to top and said, hey, what we're doing and the path we're on is not going to be good enough. And we brainstormed some ideas of how we could collaborate and work together with them to really drive accountability and change there. And we were encouraged almost within a couple weeks of that meeting. We had a new opportunity with a food chain called Chiba Hut that the broker helped introduce us to. And so we're hoping and that partnership will continue to deepen. We also had an ideation session of, hey, what could be next if we're looking not just to the next 6 months, but maybe the next 6 years, where we worked with our marketing team to understand trends. And then finally, we're doing every 2 weeks, a group of us is going through our key accounts with retail and saying, how are we meeting expectations? And then what are we doing going forward with them as their opportunity for growth? And so the sales team, it's abundantly clear to them that we have open capacity at Dailies and they need to sell it. And so my challenge to us is, how can we best partner with them to drive that growth? Awesome. So you can go to the next slide. The third of the big four is what I call protect. And so you guys can read this before we give the business our full and undivided attention. Check out the shiny new thing I found. And so the expansion can be a shiny new thing. It's new, it's interesting, it's different. And all of us, I think, have a little bit of shiny new thing syndrome, where the monotony of our normal days, it's easy to get distracted. One of the things that I want to continue to challenge us with is to say, how do we do our day job really well? I had a mentor, Celia Kovac, early in my career that said that she gave me really direct and candid feedback of saying, hey, Joe, you really are great at special projects, but what I need you to be successful in your job is to do your day-to-day job first extremely well, and then before you move on to those special projects. And that was hard for me to hear because I have, again, the shiny new thing syndrome myself. But that's what I want to challenge us with. We have to, as we transition and do expansion and make changes in our facilities, we have to execute the day-to-day job with excellence. So that's what I'm going to continue to challenge us to do. Also, as we're looking to grow volume, we have to protect what we have today. We have to meet our customers' expectations, execute, get product out that's high quality, on time, in full, each and every day. So that's it. Protecting what we have today is big. And then finally, where the next slide shows that we're also beginning to think of what does it look like to transition when the St. Joe expansion comes online. And again, we're intentionally keeping the group small. We're not doing that to be exclusive. We will over time pull more and more people in. But one of the things that Viviana did a really nice job leading in St. Joe is she took the plan and kind of mapped out where different positions are and how we might staff as new volume comes in, as we turn lines on. And you can see she mapped out specific roles in really thoughtful ways on how we do that. And so work's being done on the transition. And I'm really excited about how engaged the team is, and Viviana, great job with this. That was a really, I think it's going to set us up for success and allow us to really plan strategically from what we're doing from a people side. So those are the big four: execute, grow, protect, and transition. There's a lot going on, and there's a lot of things that go underneath each one of those. And so I want to thank you all for being engaged and working through kind of what always is a chaotic summer. I really appreciate your hard work and effort. With that, we can go to the next slide. I think it's questions that you may have for the leadership team.
Nobody has a question? Brian, surely you have something.
All right, I'll do it.
Okay.
Joe's out here, so I might get beat up for this, but
That's
I'll
right.
do more of a
I can walk down the hall. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I got enough people. I was gonna say enough people are protecting me, but I don't know if they'll take my side or not on this. So this is a more serious question, though. So we're right now we're looking at this expansion be done, in the next year or so, and a lot of business we're anticipating. At the same time, we're seeing like some of the facilities are lacking from business. And so honestly, a little bit of a concern. We're expanding, but we don't have enough business to keep us busy now. So what kind of strategies other than sell more are we looking at to try to help fill that anticipated volume?
Yeah, that's a great question, Brian. What you're going to continue to hear. So the reality, if you look at our business, if you zoom back, we have to grow more volume. Our sales team has to execute and bring more business in. And so that is full stop. If we're not successful at doing that, it's going to be hard for us to be successful with the expansion. I do think, again, and I shared a few of those earlier things they're doing. And I think there's a level of diligence and accountability that continues. The pressure and the heat and accountability on those things are continuing to get turned up. And so you can trust me that work's being done there. What I want to do, and it's going to be a huge theme though for this upcoming year, is to challenge this group. And we've started to do it as a leadership team some, but you're going to hear this a lot. You guys are going to get tired of hearing me talk about it. Is our goal at Dailies this next year, our number one priority is going to be how do we partner with the sales team to set them up for as much success as possible. And that hits a lot of different areas, right? It means from an FSQA team, how do we make sure we have a high quality product leaving our facilities, that our facilities are food safe and we hit audits out of the park? From our HR team, how do we make sure we have the right people in the right places that are trained to do that? From accounting and finance, how do we continue, and this is in Allskate, how do we continue to drive costs out of the business so we can price more competitively with our competitors? Operations, how do we get more efficient? How do we utilize people in a more thoughtful way? How do we get throughput up in our plants? Because one of the things we're going to do is you've probably seen in the news, Tyson and Clemens Foods and now JBS have all added bacon capacity either in the last 2 years or in the upcoming 2 years. So a number of our main competitors are doing the same thing we're doing, adding bacon capacity. And so what it's not going to be over the next 24 months is easy. Our sales folks are going to be in a dogfight to win new business. And we need to think of how can we be bulletproof on the things that we can control to set them up for success. And again, having it be where we can get even more competitive with costs because we are running our plants more efficiently, smarter, more thoughtfully than our competitors are. That's going to be one big way that we can do it, along with all those other ones I listed. But it's a great question, Brian. That is really the question that we're asking and pushing for.
Thanks, Joe.
Awesome. Well, if not, well, thank you guys. I appreciate it.